What's up? What's up? How you doing, Loretta? Are you with me?
Hi, Andres. Yeah, I am. Hi, Andres. I'm so happy to be live with you today, and I want to say hi to all the listeners. I hope you
Yeah.
guys are well, and I know that right now it's noon, so bon appetit.
Uh, yeah, you know some of that French, yeah?
Yeah, well, coming from Burundi, where we speak
Mm.
Kirundi and French is our official language. So
Okay, okay. Uh-huh. That's good. I'm glad you are telling us all of this because we want to know a lot of things as a global citizen. What do you experience in life in terms of everything that's going on right now, and what is nice about being in that part of the world and being able to go from time to time Cyprus? I'm sure you go around the world a few times a year.
yeah, well, I'm from Cyprus, and actually, Cyprus is the most cosmopolitan country I have ever seen. Because we have a festival. Cyprus has been an English colony, and right now it's being tutored by Turkey, and the other side of Cyprus is also being tutored by Greece. So we have so many cultures that are present, and added to that, we have students coming from Nigeria, coming from the West Africa, East. So it's really a melting pot, and I think it's the best experience where you have to meet other people. One thing that touched me the most is to realize that we are all of us. I've seen it in Zimbabwean culture and South African where we talk about Ubuntu, but
Mhm.
I came to realize that it's actually characterizing all Africans in different ways, but like there's a proverb in French that says it's like the difference of colors that makes the garden beautiful. So you find out that all of us, all the citizens and students in Cyprus, we are actually a good community. So the cosmopolitanism and the differences of cultures have made it being a global citizen a beautiful experience to me, because when you are in Burundi, you can't really see much. Like you can only identify to them as Burundians. Especially in Burundi, we only speak one language, so it's easy. But when you get to go out and speak different languages, it makes it interesting.
Okay, okay. So how many languages can you speak?
So I can speak about six.
About six.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Name a few.
So I can speak my language, which is Kirundi. I can speak French. I can
Mm-hmm.
speak English. I can speak Swahili. I can speak Spanish and Turkish.
All right, yeah. If you know how to speak Swahili, then you must be in a position because it goes. You mentioned South Africa and Zimbabwe, with the spirit
Yeah.
of Ubuntu. Um, there is that whole situation where we came, people down south came from up north. So um, having come up north, there's the Bantu people, and the whole Swahili situation is sort of on us as those people. So it's some of that is cultural. It's culture that we learn from up north.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Well, mm,
yeah, go
excuse
on.
me. Go on with the question. Go on with the question.
No, I was gonna say, having said that, what have you learned other than that in terms of culture differences and contrasts, um, and commonalities in your culture when you are in Cyprus? Because many a times we see certain differences. Because I was uh, only aware now that also in the south there is arranged marriages.
Oh,
Having known it from Indians, it's like, oh, we also have it, but I don't know how we actually do it, but it's also there.
Well, arranged marriages are actually present everywhere, and it's funny. But if you go to Europe, you'll find it too, especially in this Middle Eastern part. So we can talk about, but on a what makes it different when it comes to Africans, Indians, and Europeans is like the reasons, and I would say the frame in which it is being done, like the context. So if you go to Africa and India, it's cultural. But if you go to these other countries like Russia, like Kazakhstan, so we have like these kind of countries. And actually, there is actually a part of France where you are going to see people getting married because they will give the daughter because this is a good part. This is a good person that is going to give to provide financial stability to the family. So it's many reasons, and most of the time you find, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think your earphones, your movement is creating the crackling sound.
Oh, sorry, 1 minute.
Uh,
Maybe it's the earrings. So I'll just drop them. I think it's
uh,
okay now, right?
yeah, yeah, it's okay now.
Yeah. So I was going to say that those arranged marriages are present everywhere, and it's today I was reading a journal online where it was talking about in Nigeria where like 15 million, up to 15 million girls are being married underage, like under 18. So you see
Mhm.
that it's happening everywhere. But the real question is why do people, why do families believe that marriage is the how can I say, is the only thing that is going to allow their children to have a good life, to have a good future. Because for what it's worth, like the proofs are just, they show that it's not really being effective. Because we you can see, for instance, in Kazakhstan, these parts of Europe, Scandinavia, if you go there and you find a girl that was married maybe at the age of 16, by the time she turns 28, they either kill their husbands, they either divorce them if the guy is like, he's a nice person who is willing to have an adult conversation. So like it creates so many bad things. And lately in Burundi, there was a girl who got married with her high school sweetheart, but
Mhm.
unfortunately in the end they ended up divorcing. Why? Because she said, well, we don't have money, and I have to grow, I have to become someone else. So this brings up this debate that is ongoing, where we have to talk about girls in careers. You understand what I mean? Like, should
Yeah,
girls, yeah, the place of love, what is the place of love in someone's life, in a girl's life? And should we really choose to have this family life, choose to become housewives instead of our careers? Because you have seen that now with the family planning and everything, with the modernization, someone can decide to follow a career, become financially stable, and make your own, have your own career, make your own goals, and also give birth, have a lot of children, adopt. So many things that are actually bringing up these abnormalities within the system, marital system. And I really hope that we are not going really like to realize that it's high time we changed our minds when it's late.
yeah. It's like you said. At some point, there's the beat where you have a child, you get married, and you get educated. It seems like previously, it was the normal way, which was supposedly the safe way, because well, we need you to go out there and be able to fend for yourself at some point. So what used to happen was a lot of girls were encouraged to have their education first, so that in any case that they have a child, or things don't go well, they still have a fallback on something.
Mm,
And then comes marriage, and then a child. But what's happening is that most young girls are indulging in activities without protecting themselves, or you know what I
mm,
mean. And then
mm, mm.
with time, the baby's around, and life happens. So
Yeah.
it's that sort of situation where you, at least if you have it in mind, because now it seems like there's no steps. It's not like first it's education. Sometimes people are having kids before they finish their education. They're getting married before they finish education. They have a child before, you know what I mean. So it's a bit crazy. Would you, in your space and way of
Yeah,
thinking,
it is.
uh, what how do you look at that yourself?
Well, first of all, I think this is a plus. That I would say that conservatism is something that we should really be thankful for, because, they teach us how to wait. Waiting is a good thing. And if you can't, for me, I am kind of religious, I would say. So I'm more like, if I have to give someone an advice, I would say, just wait. Because, from the time you have maybe your first intercourse, and maybe the person doesn't turn out to be the right guy, because we have so many ideas about sex that really should be revisited. And one thing that I would really advise is just to wait, and I think it pays off. How can I
Quite the
say
peer
it?
pressure.
Yeah, like we go to high school, and then there are the popular guys that
Mm,
are getting all the girls, and maybe sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm left out and everything. But then if you look back, and you realize, oh my God, there is someone, a girl like me, who's my
mm,
age. She took another path, and today we for instance, maybe right now I'm thinking master's degree, and
mm,
someone else is thinking how they're going to get the diapers. So you see, like, those are two different lives, but they always come out, the choices that we make. Sex is not something that we should take lightly. In as much as we are trying to enjoy ourselves and live life and do whatever we have to do, we have really to be responsible. And if you can't, also be responsible. Like in your sexuality, you can use condoms, or you
mm.
can also use contraceptive. There are many methods, because by the time I've seen many girls, by the time you're trying to, counterpart if like you should abort or not. See,
Mm.
finding yourself having to choose over somebody else's life, that's real business. So it's not something.
But ultimately, you can't be a 48-year-old virgin.
No, you can't. But then if you can, if you decide, some of us are saying, okay, well, by the time I'm 18, like for me, for instance, I know that I put an age. I said, okay, by this time I'll be doing this. You
Mm,
understand? So there are some girls that are like that. You can decide, like, by 25 I want to start having, like, being active.
mm,
So in those, when you are in that situation and you're not married and you just want to mingle, as we say, you just have to be responsible. And I love science,
mm,
because science is trying to palliate to such kind of people. Like, not everyone believes in
mhm,
religion, sorry. But
mhm.
at the same time, we must be responsible, know that if a life is going to come out of us, we must take care of it diligently.
All right, we're gonna go for a quick break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Yep, we are back. We are back. We are back. And yeah, you was about to tell us more. You was, I could see you was warming up and getting comfortable, and you know, you got your facts ready now. You got your experience time ready, and yes, we continue this conversation with Loretta, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, like you were saying at the age of 25, because many a times people are getting ready, sort of getting married at that time. And
Yeah.
what's happening is, are you saying this is the time? Is as much as sometimes what happens, you meet somebody and you're not ready to actually follow the proper procedure, but you love that person and you're getting along fine, and then you think, oh, well, you know what, I could try it with this guy and we could get somewhere. And
Mm.
then boom, you're 25. Are you saying that is the time when you can concede to say, do you know what, maybe I can get this guy into the Garden of Eden? Mhm.
Well, it actually depends. People are different. Some are ready by the age of 18, some are ready by the age of 20. So we have different reasons. Mine are academic, mine are career wise.
Mhm.
So someone else, maybe they don't care about career. Maybe for some, like getting married or getting in a relationship is not going to hinder them at all.
Mhm.
But one thing that I've learned in this short life that I have lived is that emotions are very tricky, and the only way for you to overcome that is to be
Mhm.
principled. So I'll
Okay.
give an example of like very basic stuff. If you
uh,
want to marry someone or if you want something, there is a
yes.
process that you have to go through. If you want to have your driving license, you have to learn. You
Yes.
have to go get your license. You have to pay for it. So
Mhm.
you really, I don't think that things that come easy are really like. Do you enjoy things that come easy? Can
Yeah.
you really enjoy things that
Yes,
take?
life is not supposed to be hard. Because if it was hard, um, then Jesus wouldn't have died for us on the cross. He went on the cross so that our sins be forgiven. You know. So
Well, the cross. Somebody said the cross was has made life easy, but it wasn't cheap. It cost somebody's life. Like Jesus, the Son of God, came down and he died. You understand? So it's not really cheap in as much as it's free. So there are so many things that we should really consider. But in as much as whatever you do, make sure that you are not led by your emotions. It's very important to be master of your own emotions. Be principled. Decide this is the time where I'm going to do this. It's the same when you decide to make a plan for the day. You say by 9 I have to do this. By 10 I'll be doing this. So that when in as much as you fall in love with someone, you meet someone, life is very tricky. That person might die, that person might do so many things, and then you be there wondering, like, what if I stuck to my beliefs? I've come to realize that whatever relationships we have, whatever people we meet, it all comes down to our own beliefs, because people will come to you because they feel like your beliefs, you guys match. That's why they said, oh, we agree on so many levels. I've heard someone saying, oh, I like Laurette because we agree on so many levels. So our beliefs, our principles are what makes us. So if you don't have it, I don't know how it's gonna live. But I'm curious to know, what do you think about this?
do you know what? I think what happens is that you love someone and you marry them, and then you marry someone to
Mm,
love them, and then you love them. So what happens is it's either that way, because like we were talking about it earlier on in terms of arranged marriage. So
mm,
it goes down to love and marriage. So what happens is, then when you love someone, but then you sort of connect in a way that you both you
yeah,
know get intertwined, because ultimately you're living parallel lives.
yeah.
You are you and I'm me, and somehow we intertwine at some point, because life is connection. It's connecting with something that you connect to. So if you connect, you intertwine, and all that happens. And ultimately, I do not condone the idea of you know sexual intercourse, because what I know is you need to have it at marriage. But it's unfortunate now that these other opinions will say, oh, you might find that
Yeah.
when you get married to this guy and then you discover that he's not good enough in terms of that department. And
Mm.
I think it's all, well, you know what, maybe I'm talking, I might be,
I understand. I understand what you mean.
yeah,
And yeah.
yeah, I might be in a position where maybe I'm being biased because I didn't do that. But later on in my learning, I rediscovered that so what happens is that a guy's salmon
Mm.
actually hits the walls and gets into the bloodstream and alters and gets to the bones. So at some point, if there's so much that happened and you discover that sometimes you look at your parents and think you guys sort of look alike because some of the stuff, the energy has been transferred during that
Yeah.
time. So
Mm. Mm.
if you're transferring all of that energy to say somebody and then you leave them and then you transfer it to another person, it becomes
Yeah.
a whole situation. And I also believe in in cultural beliefs that I carry the seeds of my ancestors. So
Yeah.
with that, what happens then is that I have to find the woman that will help me carry the ancestors to the next generation, to the next generation.
Mm. Yeah.
That's what I believe.
You just remind me. Mm.
Hmm.
You just remind me of I was having a conversation with my father, and I just asked him out of nowhere. I was like, "Dad, I'm turning 23, and
Uh-huh.
where I am, most girls that I was in school with are actually getting married. Some of them have families already, so I don't feel left out. But I was like, okay, what if I decide to get married? Because like I'm getting there." So he says to me, my daughter, like, this is me trying to uh
Yeah.
yeah. So I asked him, I said, "Oh, well, Daddy, I want to get married, but what should I look for in a man?" And he says, the first thing that you should look for is this person, when you bring him to us, are we going to increase in prayer or we are going to give thanksgiving? So what you said,
Oh, that's a good one. Are we
yeah.
going to
So that's
increase in prayer, or are we going to have Thanksgiving?
yeah.
Yeah.
So like it breaks down to this thing that we were talking about when we talk about love and emotions. You can
Mm,
like someone, but when you get closer, like you get to know someone, you don't know them within a week or 2 months. You like
yeah.
it really requires a lot of time. So
Mhm.
when you get to know such a person yourself, you know that okay, this person, in as much as he was appealing to me, this is not a good match. Because my dad said, in that same conversation, he said, is he going to honor you, or we are going to say, oh, she loved him too much, she couldn't handle it. You understand? So
Yeah.
do you see, like, we see it in novellas, like series where the girl likes a guy and then they run away. So like
Mm,
he says, like, are we really going to honor you? Are we going to respect your choices, or we just going to increase in prayers because you were unable to control yourself?
mhm.
So yes, yes, and it's like as we talk about these kind of
So
marriages, we
yeah,
really,
yeah.
yeah,
So
I'm listening.
having said that, what is your opinion about domestic violence?
Oh my goodness.
Mm,
Well, I have a question for you, actually, Andrew.
uh-huh,
As a man, do you think? Well, I've noticed for me, I have.
uh-huh,
It's not a problem. I'm really grateful for it. Like I can stay with someone who shouts. Like if you
uh-huh.
shout for me, it's the end of it. Cause like
Okay.
I just can't stand it. But I have like, can you spot someone that is abusive, like before you get married to them?
A lot of times people are getting married within a year of some sort. But I always say that 6 months for me is the point where you can actually tell if it's a do or you don't. So it's at that point where you
Mm.
can
Yeah.
deduce either this person, if uh, try to sort of agitate him, aggravate him, and see how far you can go. You know, it's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
It's a necessary evil to see where you can push with the limit. So if you see that
Mm.
this person is, you can push him to a certain point, don't get used to it, but then it's just for you to find out if you are able, his tolerance level. Because if you find that his tolerance level is got a short fuse, then
Mm.
you are most likely to be in trouble because he cannot comprehend certain things. you know I always
Yeah.
say to myself that when you find yourself lifting up your hand, basically you are saying you fail to communicate. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna resort in violence.
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh my God.
mm,
Well, when it comes to domestic violence, a few years earlier, there was this lady, her husband, like he literally amputated her, like her arms. He removed
mhm,
them
uh,
because she didn't cook.
wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So you see,
hold on to the story because it seems like it's gonna be a crazy one. But yeah, we're gonna go for a short break in a minute.
mm,
Yep, we are back, and yeah. So we were saying, you were saying there was a lady that was involved in a situation.
yeah, her husband literally removed her arms because she had forgotten to cook. So, like for a man to reach to that point where he feels like he can even take utensils and stools and things like that to just hurt you, I think you must have tolerated a lot of things. But I want to sometimes I think that it's also a matter of self-esteem. Some women have low self-esteem, and I actually blame the system. Do you know why?
Why?
Because as we grow up, for instance, your mother will tell you, oh, what kind of man is going to marry you? You see all these things. And even when there are these talk shows with women that they say, okay, well, the main goal is for you to make a family, to make your husband happy. So it's, I love this thing with the feminism that is actually giving a voice to women, teaching them that, okay, I do believe in equality. I also understand that we are not the same, but that respect is equality for me. So you must have, you have to at least be in an environment where your dignity and integrity are actually respected and preserved. So when
But
it comes to the mm,
hold on. But in
mm,
saying that, do you understand gender roles?
me, in what
Yeah,
can you please elaborate in what
gender roles in terms of you've got your man in the house, you've got your husband, your wife, the woman in the house. So
mm,
do you understand the idea that there's some things that make you attractive as a woman when you do them, and
yeah, they
those
do.
uh yes, because I also have a strong thinking on this, because um, there's a misinterpretation of feminism and toxic feminism. And
Mm-hmm.
to your own information, in the introduction of feminism led the rise in single parents. So um, a lot of times people are being misinformed about the idea that you need to do this, you don't need him to do that, you don't need him to do that. But what you forget is that um, you actually complement each other by doing your gender role.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm,
I agree with that totally. Because that's also part of that feminism. Because being a woman is actually, let's even put it in a household. Like we have different roles. If you are providing, I'll be able to take care of the house. But at the same time, like there are no, how can I say it? There is a song in my language that says like, oh, a Burundian girl must cook, she must clean, she must take care of the kids, which is a nice thing. But it doesn't have to be kind of a task that you have to accomplish. Obviously, there are some things that are inherent to women that,
mhm.
like God has created us, predestined us to do such works. But at the same time, it's our power. So we shouldn't be abused or, be indulged by force, because I don't think we are being respected.
But hey, listen,
Yeah,
check this
I'm
out.
glad you're laughing.
Check this out.
Mm.
If there was a sack of 5 kgs, and me and you, who would automatically adjust to carrying that 5 kg? Um, uh, of,
Pregnancy.
I mean, who would automatically align themselves in carrying that sack of maize or sack of rice?
Excuse me, I didn't understand the question.
If there was a 5 kg sack of rice in front of me and you, a
Uh-huh.
man and a woman, who would
Mm.
automatically adjust to carrying that sack of
Of
rice?
course, the man, you know.
There you go. But then,
But mm,
if there was a pot on a stove, and we were both hungry, yeah. So
yeah, I
who will
can.
automatically adjust to that?
Me, because I'm naturally made for it. But
There
at
you
the
go.
same time, I just don't like the idea of entitlement. You
Yeah, but
understand?
why can we not live natural lives?
Mm,
you
depends.
said you said it's a natural. Why can we not live natural lives?
Well, okay. I love the fact that you talk about like we make it natural, but as it is natural, why do you have to push me to do it? Some girls, it's funny. You just reminded me of energies. Did you know that
Yeah.
there are some girls that have masculine energy? So, for instance, she will be the hunter. I don't know if you've noticed, for instance, there are some girls who will say, I cannot date a guy who's coming after me. There are girls like that.
Uh-huh.
And there are other men who will be like, oh, I am too shy. I'd rather have a woman coming after me. So like there is also those energies, like a woman can have masculine energy, a man can have feminine energy. So you'd find a man that likes cooking and the girl just likes playing or just playing, video games. So it's really tricky. But all in all, we were talking about gender-based violence or even domestic violence,
Mhm.
and I'm really trying to like myself. I haven't been in relationship much, but all the time I try to understand what is it that can push a man or a woman to actually like beat her man or his wife. And the question is, why do you stay in there? You understand? Like, why do you stay in there? If you are married, you can go for a therapist.
Yeah, or maybe
Okay.
sometimes you get beaten once in 3 months, and then you get love.
Imagine. So that becomes a diet. Oh my goodness. So like, you know that by this time of the month I'm gonna be beaten. Do you see how bad that is? But
Nah,
also
it's
when
it's
you
it's
say,
something you get used to. It's this is the thing. What
mm,
happens is many a times people, you know, once you see a trend, you know, address
mm,
it, because
mm,
if you see a problem, fix it, because if you don't fix it, it's not gonna fix itself.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I don't know. I really, I like, well, I haven't been married and I haven't been in relationships like for me to be able to really talk about these things. But from the relationships
But
I've
okay,
seen,
okay. In your previous experience in a relationship, have you had an argument?
I don't. I
What?
didn't. I promise you, like, for me, it's, I'm so career oriented that I don't really give like I never leave the talking stage. So, so So by the time you want me to give you 2 hours of my life, I'll be like, excuse me, this is too much. But
Oh,
yeah, well, that's why I can't really talk much. But I've seen women and like I've seen women really suffering, and I'm always curious. I'm like, especially those that are not married. But one thing is for sure, they have a problem of self-esteem.
okay.
Cause yeah, like and I might be wrong. I might be wrong, and I wish like maybe we can get other testimonies from other people. But you always wonder like, Steve Harvey. I love Steve Harvey, and he always
Mhm.
tells us that ladies, you are the prize. Like a man
But
should.
what does he mean you're the prize? Because
Ow.
this
Well,
is
you're the
where
cherry on top.
what do you mean you're the cherry on top? Because this is where a lot of people are being lied to. There is
Mm?
there's there's a bit of telling what they want to hear, because I well it's fair to say
Mm. Mm.
you're the cherry on top. It's fair to say that on the basis that you compliment us, but we are.
Well, one thing I might say,
There's
okay,
no
let's
cherry
go
on
back to
top
the
without the
Bible.
cake. That's basically what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
okay, you are the cake. I get it.
Yeah.
But the cake is not cute without the cherry. Let's agree on that. You cannot, the cake is never beautiful without the cherry. So I was thinking, if we go back to the Bible, like the man had already an environment, like he had to work, he had to name the animals, he had to learn how to cultivate. And then God decides that I'm going to give you a helper. So, in this era where sex is easy to get,
Mhm.
and you dating is like we are dating on and off. This is one of the reasons why actually like people are getting married very very late, because by the time you get married you have maybe 10, 20 relationships, 50 partners, things like that. So we have really reduced this thing of marriage, like we have altered it. But at the same time, you realize that in as much as you're having sex with people, finding the right partner is actually hard. So that's why like that girl, if you decide that you are going to pursue her, you know that this is the right cherry for your cake. So that's why she is the prize.
But what you also need to understand is that this
Mhm.
some cakes are beautiful with many cherries on top.
Well, you get yourself killed. Do you really believe in polygamy?
It works for some. It works for some. It doesn't work for some. I mean, say for instance you've got a second wife, and
Mm-hmm.
then it wouldn't work because there's jealousy and envy in the house. So you probably need
Yeah.
three. You
Three.
need three people.
When the
So
two first ones are fighting, you need someone to be to be
yeah,
taking care of you. You mean okay?
I mean, back in the days, the people understood that you had you could have that sort of many wives,
Mm.
because ultimately you were like I'm saying, like we said, you
Uh-huh.
are the cake.
Yeah, you
you
are
know
the well, you
so
are the cake maybe when you have money, maybe. You
yeah, I
know.
mean,
Mm,
back in the day, we had our land, we had we had our cows, we had everything, so
mm,
that was possible. But someone introduced the idea of you having one wife, you see. So with one wife, it was trying to, they introduced that to you because they were trying to control your population. So
mm,
you bought into it because
mm.
you thought, these guys,
So you
they,
think you're trying to say that monogamy was brought maybe by colonizers or these people that
yeah,
first.
yeah, because
Wow.
how can you come as these five of you coming to
Mm,
try and take over a whole place that's got
mm,
about 100,000 people? So
yeah.
the best way you can do it is to say, listen, guys, this whole many wives business it's not in the Bible.
Mhm.
but
It's
it's
not in the
actually
Bible.
but it's actually in the Bible where you
It is
had, you know what I mean?
many
And
wives.
then
Yeah.
yeah, so it works. You give them the Bible, you tell them
Sorry.
about the nice two scriptures about
Mm.
how you shouldn't forgive, and then the next thing, teach them how to pray, and then when they open their eyes, they don't have the land, they carry in the Bible.
Well, again, I can't say much, but monogamy from my point of view and like things that I've seen, like I
Mm.
can say that monogamy is beautiful when you have married your best friend. So
Yeah, like me, like I'm married to my best friend. Me, actually,
yeah,
yeah,
I love the
and it's,
pictures you posted last time.
yeah,
They're beautiful.
we have a good time. But hey, let's
Yeah.
continue this conversation after the break.
Okay.
Mm. Yep. Um, it's the last segment of the show now. Um, it's the last quarter of the show. So let's talk about your music.
Okay,
Mm.
thank
Let's
you for
talk
talking
about your
about
music.
me.
Let's talk about your music. So what do we have out there that says Laurette? And I'm sure from the social handles on the bottom of the screen, that's where
Mm-hmm.
people can reach you, and
Yeah.
that's where they can access to some of your songs. And I'm sure you've got songs on YouTube as well.
I do have an album on Spotify. I also I'm working on. I have video clips on YouTube as well. If you
Hmm.
visit, you'll see a lot of them. And currently, I'm working on two albums. One I'll release it by September, but
Uh-huh.
obviously, like I'll be releasing by singles because I want people to actually like listen to each song because I take time for it and I pray for it, pray about it and everything. So that's why
So
yeah.
I'm taking there's gonna be some gospel music.
Excuse me?
I take it there's gonna be some gospel music in the album.
Well, the first one, that first album that is available on Spotify is actually something I just, how can I say, it was my first album, so I went
Yeah.
nuts
Hmm.
and I just did me. But one thing that I noticed was that I was, all of it was about women empowerment,
Uh-huh.
especially in Burundi. So there is a song that I wrote for women.
Hmm.
I don't know if maybe I should type it in the chat or you'll see it. I can text you later.
All right.
But yeah, so we had that one for empowering women because I realized that many women, many young girls, and also even women from the rural areas, we are despising agriculture, and we are also despising different sectors of the labor. So I was like, you know what, a woman, as long as you know that you can do it, go and get it. So it says like, put me in an office and you'll know that you have the best in your office. If you put me in the field, I'll make sure that I'll cultivate my best, like I'll give you my best.
Hmm.
That is a song that I'm really proud of because I've seen it empower ladies, and
Uh-huh.
the first lady of my country likes it too. So another song that I like is about single moms. So
Uh-huh.
basically, we were talking about these kind of relationships. I like we have so many cases of men that impregnate women, and then they say, "Oh, I'm not the one. I'm not the dad. How are you sure I'm the one?" Things like that. But we forget that beforehand, like in the early days, we were saying, "I'll never leave you" and things like that. So that baby was born on the basis of the words that you guys said, or maybe on the promises that you made to each other. So it was
But
more of, mm,
can I hold you there?
of
Do you
course.
not feel sometimes that because I've always had this notion that a lot of things are misinterpreted and are misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is that people go into the pit together, but um, after they go into the pit, they want to point fingers that yeah, we're in the pit because of you, you know.
Yeah.
We're in the pit. I'm now a single. It's unfortunate that there's a baby around,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like I'm a single mom because of you. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? There's a whole blame culture that's there because of a circumstance, but they overlook that uh, the contributors of both people going into the pit was two
Mm.
people, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's many times you ask women, so what did you contribute in the whole breakup? And be like, nah, he was just, it's like, what do you mean he was just?
I see. I know. And I wish women could sober up a little, and
Yeah.
actually, like raise your standard. And how can I say this? There are so many girls out today indulging in so many things, like becoming sugar babies and
Mhm.
doing very interesting things. But no, and whatever choices you are making, like you cannot defeat science. We cannot defeat science. So the best thing to do is actually make science our ally by, again, what we're talking about, use contraceptive, use
Yeah.
condoms if you can't hold yourself, because it's ruined many lives, and like it's bringing so many girls into depression, taking girls out of the market, because I've seen from Cyprus, there's so many girls that just like, we start a relationship out of nowhere. You're like, I like him, he likes me. I'm from Burundi, maybe this person is from Zimbabwe, and they're
Mm.
like, okay, maybe we can be together for the one year, 2 3 months, and within those 3 months, you're like, you just go nuts, you forget that you must be responsible. So when a baby is there, and you have now to choose, like, do I keep it or not? And if you what which like, either way, whatever choice you're going to make is going to affect you mentally, physically, even in your life.
Yeah.
So it's really
But
tricky. But
having said that,
mm,
you've got a whole choice of
yeah,
4 months to make a decision. You know what I mean?
for
So
baby. mm,
yeah, you're pregnant. You got 4 months to make that decision to say, "Do you know what, I don't want this baby, or I
to
want this
leave,
baby."
yeah.
So
mm,
if you're in a situation where you know
mm,
this ain't gonna work, like, you know what I mean?
yeah, I
You,
do.
mm.
So okay,
But then you want to
first,
keep the baby and blame it on the man.
oh no, like, you don't keep it, but like, for instance, I'm a pro life. So
Yeah.
if, for instance, I get pregnant, I know that I would keep the baby.
All right.
Actually,
Okay. 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 So
so
if
I'm
you
going.
get, wait, worst case scenario, you get raped,
Yeah,
you keep the baby.
I'll still keep the baby. The thing is, like, in as much as all these things have happened, the baby, this is a life. Like, if there is a mystery to the child, you understand? So, like, I can take care of it. I can wash the baby. I can, help him out until he turns 18. Because at the end of the day, like, things have changed. A lot of things have changed. And I don't think a baby would really stop me from becoming whatever person I wanted to become earlier. Obviously, it's going to stop me for a while, but I don't think that it's going to hold me back. But so there is a mystery to the child. The child is going to, maybe he'll be president, he'll be whatever. So I may be raising a president, I may be raising an athlete. I never know. And I just like that one. I like that I'm raising a life. I like that I'm going to nurture someone into becoming a better person than the rapist. But on the other hand, when you, like, you
But
are.
listen, check this out.
I'll
You're
check
gonna
it out.
raise someone. You're gonna raise someone who's got genes of a rapist.
Of course, and then the problem is when the baby starts asking me, "Where is daddy?" I'll be like, "How am I going to tell this story now?" You understand? So I get where you're coming from. It's really hard. But at the same time, for me, I would do it for the sake of, there is a life within me. If my parent, my mom, had decided that she doesn't want me, because there are so many families also that are married and they're having children, and then someone comes in surprise and they're like, should we keep it? Should we let him live? You understand? So I think it's really tricky. But at the same time, if there are girls that are listening to us, if a baby comes your way, take it as a blessing, no matter what cases. But obviously, like, you must be strong enough to take care of the baby. So it's tricky. But I
Okay.
don't know much when it comes to relationships. So, and I hope I won't be get raped. I don't be raped. I don't want to get raped for me to know, like, to change my point of view. See, like, this is me just talking from a perspective of someone that doesn't know much. You understand?
Yeah, yeah. I see.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. Yeah, it's
Uh,
it only makes sense to relate. But what you need to know is that with time,
mm.
you will gain perspective. You'll speak to
Yeah.
people as you grow older, and at this point in time, you're 22. So it's like you see how you get musicians who their first album is not the same as their last album because they've grown in between,
Yeah, it's
and
true.
having grown, you experience certain things and you have a different perspective on on a lot of things. And what's going to happen is you're going to gain perspective and you're going to
Mm.
continue to seek information, continue to get knowledge and you know get by and experience life as it comes. Of course, have your boundaries, so to say. You know,
Mm.
know what you want and do what you need to do, of what you have to do, and then that way you'll be able to prosper and do
I
what you
have
want
a
to do.
question for you. I have a question
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
So like, suppose you are a lady and you get pregnant, raped. What would you do? What would be your reaction? Like, are you going like to be like, I can't keep this person because I was raped, like, or you are going like to have your half full glass. You'd be like, oh, it's half full. So like I'll have the baby and see what it holds. Like this
um
is, I want to see, I want to understand like what you think. I'm curious to know. Because like when we talk about life and when we talk about people, I don't think we should take it lightly as a simple decision to be made, because it's a life with someone, it's a person. So I'm
yeah.
curious to know what you think and what would you advise to someone.
This is the thing. My advice is, I'll just take you through my sort of understanding of things. Basically, there's a certain age. Life is about procreation. So we are
Mm-hmm.
here on this earth to procreate, right? So
Mm,
you find that these women at the age of 40 or at the age of 38, it's just to creep in, maybe say 35 rather. It's just to
mm,
creep in to say, do you know what? I need to fulfill the purpose of having a child. And then if what the thing my thing is, I don't blame anybody for having made the decision that they've made, because they
yeah,
have their own personal
true,
reasons.
true.
So these are one of the reasons that I've observed. These at the age at that age, people are so desperate to, not desperate, but it's they feel the need to fulfill the purpose of creation.
Mm,
So uh, in the case that I was raped at that point, I would have to sort of think through and see if it is worthy for me to keep, and
mhm,
will my trauma affect the kid? Because many a times, parents, and I've observed it from female parents and male, seldom on male parents, where you look at your child, you see the face of the person that left you
yeah,
in that person, and
mm,
you are affected by
mm,
that image, and you sort of forget that that's also your child, you see.
yeah, yeah,
And then also, if you are in a position, many Catholics don't believe, well, Catholics don't believe in abortion.
yeah.
And
Christians, all of them.
okay, yeah, so that also is a situation, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. And then also, how are you going to be perceived as somebody who was raped, first of all? How are you going to be perceived as somebody who aborted, second of all? uh, then keeping a child, you know what I mean? Who's a, it's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's about how you feel, but ultimately you are influenced of how you feel by the outside, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I personally wouldn't, I
You
wouldn't
wouldn't
blame
take it.
anyone for making a
Mm.
personal decision.
Yeah, no, like there is no one to blame. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, there is no one to blame. But I really, for me, I would overlook it beyond myself. But as you said, like giving love, proper love to a child, parental affection, is going to
Mhm.
make that person a good citizen. But
Mhm.
all in all, I just want to, to wish to all the ladies and gentlemen in here, just wait. If you can't
Yeah.
wait, just use the make science your ally, make medicine your ally, because it's gonna help out.
Yeah, thank you for coming out. It's we've reached
Thank
the
you
hour
so
point,
much.
and it's been a lovely having a conversation with you. It's interesting to have somebody from Burundi, all the way from Burundi, Cyprus, and all these places that you're from. We're gonna check on your social media and check for your music and
Thank
see
you.
how great your music is, and we're gonna
Thank
see.
you very much.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah. We're
I'll
gonna
send you. Mm-hmm.
yeah. we're gonna continue to vibe. If ever anytime you want to have a conversation, the platform is open, and
Don't worry. I'm
yeah,
I'm
everything
actually
nice.
grateful for you guys to have for having thought of me at Relax Radio, and I hope to come back with more
Yeah.
gist so that
Yeah.
so that we
All
get to
right.
have a good mhm,
All right.
a
Yeah,
good
man. Yep. Take care of yourself, and
take
hope
care.
you have a
Thank you
good
so
time with
much.
the rest of your day. Yeah.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye. Mhm.